one of my postdocs in France that is now at John Hopkins, but he cannot make it, so I'll be here on his behalf. Okay, so the problem that we're trying to understand is the ADMM algorithm, which stands for Alternating Direction Method of Multipliers, and it's an algorithm to solve optimization problems of the form that you see above. The objective is separable. We have two functions f and g that are linked through a linear constraint, where a and b are matrices of an appropriate dimension and c is a vector. And it's just a first order iterative algorithm that depends on the function f and g, and the problem that we're interested in is understanding the convergence rate of these algorithms. So the detail of the algorithms are not that important. The things you should have in mind is that it has two free parameters that you can choose to tune it, which is rho and alpha. Everything else is known. Okay? And after a few iterations, or after you achieve desired accuracy, you can read the solution from x and z. And u is a dual variable that you might also read off if you're interested in it. Okay? And the bounds that you're interested in are bounds of this form here. We want to bound error by some constant tau and t, where tau is the convergence rate that you're interested in. Okay, so let me just talk about the main ideas here. And although there's not a lot of information theory here, the framework that we're going to use might be useful for you guys when you have your own iterative scheme and you want to prove rate bounds on your iterative scheme. So I think it's kind of might be useful for some of you. So the first main idea is that a lot of optimization schemes can be interpreted as a dynamical system, obviously. So the iterates at the next step are a function of the previous iterates. And the second thing is that many optimization schemes can be interpreted as a linear system with nonlinear feedback. So this would be for the simple case of gradient descent. So we have a linear system, which is in blue, and we have the nonlinear feedback that is given by the gradient. Okay. And because of this interpretation, studying the convergence of an optimization algorithm is equivalent to studying the stability of such feedback systems. Okay, that's kind of idea number 3. And then the idea number 4, which is the most important idea, is that if I have such a feedback system and I probe my feedback system with some function, psi there, and I read some c, then if the z satisfies a set of constraints that I'm going to call IQCs, then whatever property I prove for this open loop system also holds for the closed loop system. Because I'm relaxing the set of constraints. So this is the kind of the most important slide. So I'll make a pause here. So if we have questions, now is the time before I continue. Okay, again, so if I can show that my z, which is a function of the signals happening in the closed loop system, satisfies some property, this IQC property, then if I open the loop or remove the loop, then whatever property I can prove about this in here must also confirm. Okay, yes?
So UT is coming out of that blue box on the left?
Sorry?
On box on the left, where is UT? Is that arrow the right?
All right, so you would be, so this thing is not, you would be a signal that you also have, so it's some number that you have that you're plugging in, right? So there should be an arrow here. So if you have numbers u, z, and x that satisfy this property here, and also z, a function of u and x, is in here, then good question. Any other questions? Okay. So this is the main theory that we're going to make use of from Lessard and others. Actually, the proof is not complicated, it's just like 5 lines, but I'm not going to do it here because of time constraints. So let's imagine that you have u, x, and z that evolve according to some open loop system like this. And let u, x, and z be some fixed point of the sequence. Okay? Then if I can find a row between 0 and 1 such that z of t satisfies this constraint for every k, this is called the interorthogonality constraint. And if in addition, the following matrix inequality is satisfied for some positive definite p and for some non-negative lambda, then one can show that the rate of convergence of x is rho. Okay, so the convergence exponential with rate. And in particular, when we prove this IQC, I actually only need to prove that this accuracy holds for values u, x, and z that come from a closed loop system. Okay, so if u, x, and z come from a closed loop system, okay, for example, this system here, then the previous accuracy only needs to hold for values of z that are obtained, through this closed loop system. Okay. Okay, so these are the main tools and main ideas that I'm going to make use of. And so our work is kind of the first work that uses this framework to actually produce novel and tight bounds on the convergence rate of a widely used optimization algorithm. Okay, so typically this framework has been used to produce numerical bounds, but not closed form expressions. We're the first ones to be able to extract something useful and not known out of it. And as I said, these are technologies that you might want to learn because it's always the same. You kind of follow the recipe and you get things out. Okay, so before I go on, I'm just going to quickly review a few things about convex functions. So I'm going to be working on the family of functions SLM, where L is a upper bound of the curvature of the function, and M is a lower bound of the curvature. So the functions are going to be strongly convex with parameter small m. For example, this function here is not strongly convex, okay, because it's a straight line asymptotically, and also a straight line in that direction. And we're going to assume that the gradients are Lipschitz. So these would be non-Lipschitz gradients. Okay, that one is a discontinuity, and this would be called broken bound. And we're also going to make use some properties of convex functions. In particular, if a function is strongly convex, then it's the concatenation of a vector and its gradient, so this y minus x and gradient of f of y minus gradient of f of x, satisfy this matrix inequality. And if you let n go to 0 and l go to infinity, then the subgradient satisfies this inequality. Any vector from the subgradient satisfies it. So these are two matrix inequalities that we're going to make use of in this tool. Okay, so just before I go on, let me just review again what the problem is. So we're interested in using this ADMM algorithm to solve that optimization problem over there. These are the iterations of the ADMM algorithm. It has 3 parameters, rho and alpha. And I apologize that sometimes the convergence rate is also going to be denoted by rho. So I'm going to try to make it clear when I'm talking about the parameter of ADMM or when I'm talking about the convergence rate. We're going to assume here that A is invertible and B is full rank. F is strong convex. G not necessarily strong convex, it's just convex. That's why it's okay. So the first thing one needs to do is to kind of transform this ADMM algorithm into a linear system with nonlinear feedback. But that's already been done for us. So that's the shape that it takes. So the linear part is given by this A and B. Notice that these matrices are all the tensor product of the identity with some small matrix, and that will be useful to simplify our expressions later. And the way we're going to probe the system, through a linear function given by these matrices C and D. And the complicated part appears in this nonlinear feedback. And in this particular case, this nonlinear feedback comes from a set of equations that one needs to solve. Okay, that look kind of complicated, but it doesn't matter that they look complicated. Okay, the only thing we need to do is to study a few properties of this map, and then we're done. Okay, so details of the map itself are not relevant, and that's why this framework is very powerful. Okay. It has input x and the output q, and given x, I can solve the system of equations. Now I'm going to be dealing with this f hat and g hat that are basically kind of riscal versions of f and g, just for simplicity of the math. But the equations themselves, you can check them on your own. It's in the paper, so I'm not going to be too much worried about it. Okay. So what we need to know about this nonlinear feedback? Now, first we need to understand some curvature bounds on this f hat and g hat, and that's kind of easy to come up with. So f hat has a lower curvature m hat and an upper curvature l hat. They depend on the original m and l curvature of function f, given the rescaling that I did. So this k here is basically l over m, sort of conditional. Let me write it down on the board. Oops. And rho 0 and k0 are just some rescaled versions of these K and these blue. And the vector that I'm going to probe out of my system is basically a concatenation of these gradients, these delta R, delta gradient of R, delta S, and delta gradient of T in S. So variation on the vector and variation on the gradients. And I concatenate it. Okay, that's how I'm going to probe the system. And then from this first bound that we saw, let me just go back from this bound, from these matrix inequalities, one can show that these transform functions f hat and g hat and their gradients also satisfy from the fact that they belong in S n hat L hat and S0 infinity. We know that they satisfy these matrix inequalities. Okay, they're just direct application of these corollaries. And since I have two of them, I can rescale them by arbitrary constants lambda 1 and lambda 2, and I can bring them all together. So I get this overall matrix inequality that says the concatenation of these gradients and vectors times these large matrix in the middle. Well, I guess the quadratic form is always possible. Okay? And this is the form that M1 and M2 take in a bunch of constants that depend on our form parameter, okay, the family of functions we're doing. Okay, so now we're in a position to kind of apply this IQC framework. Okay. So we know that ZT minus Z star times that matrix then ZT minus Z star is bigger than 0 for all T. Therefore, this initial IQC also holds for any row. So since this delta Z and delta Z is always positive, then obviously if I multiply by row to power of minus 2T and then I sum up, obviously it's always positive. So we're in good shape. And so we can just apply a theorem, and in the end of the day, what we need to do is to find some matrix P0 and some constants level 1 and 2 that make this matrix negative. Okay, that's basically the second condition we need to check the theorem, and I apologize for going back and forth. Right here. Okay, so first we need to get some IQC for the Z, which we already have, based on the gradients, and then we need to come up with a T and a lambda that make these matrix equality negative definite, based on A, B, C, and D that come from my linear system and my probe. Okay, so that's basically what I'm just doing. And here I'm taking into account that all the matrices are tessered with an identity, so actually these matrix that would be very large actually can be reduced to a fairly small matrix. Okay, in this case, it would be seen after we do the calculation, this is a 4 by 4 matrix. Now, this 4 by 4 matrix is not that big, but it doesn't look nice. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff inside. And we want to find, as I said, a P0 that is positive definite, and lambda 1, lambda 2 that are positive, such that this matrix here is negative definite. And also we need to find a row that is between 0 and 1 that also makes this a negative definite. So there's a lot of choices here, right? So we need to, so our degrees of freedom are P, lambda 1, lambda 2, and rho. So this is must be positive definite, this is non-negative, and this is 0 and 1. And if we can find the 4 quantities, then we know that the convergence rate is bounded by the row that we can find. Of course, we want to find the row that is as small as possible. And in this case, just trying direct algebraic approach is not feasible. So Guilherme is a physicist by training. So what he does is that he kind of guesses and substitutes and checks and keeps doing it, and actually eventually gets it. So how do we check that the matrix is negative definite? Well, we need to compute the principal minors and check if this condition holds for any principal minor. The principal minor is just we eliminate some rows and some columns and you compute it. And it's a big surprise that you can actually figure out these complicated things, but you can actually can. I don't know how, but you can ask him. Okay, so here's what you guess after many hours of trial and error. Okay, and you can plug them in back into the matrix and can check that all the principal minors are satisfied by signs. And so we get, this tau here. Now I change the rho for tau. I apologize for that. So again, this tau here, which gives you an upper bound over the rate of ADM. So if you plug in these quantities, all the inequalities are satisfied, so we know that this thing is a valid upper bound, so we're in good shape. Now, which is great. Now the question is, can I get a better upper bound, right? Because as I said, any set of numbers that is satisfied with inequalities give a valid upper bound, so this one might not be the best. So how do we determine whether this thing is best or not? Well, we just need to find a subfamily of functions f and g, generic families parameterized by L and M that achieve these upper bound, and then we're done. And in this particular case, it turns out that if you use a simple quadratic function, that's enough to actually match the upper bound. And so we know that the rate of this over-relaxing demand for these functions, for these stronger convex functions, is given by this expression here. Okay, so it depends on this ratio of the curvatures, depends on our alpha, which is the relaxation parameter, and then this rho 0, which is a function of the original rule of the algorithm. Just so this is a function with maximum of x. So just to kind of finalize. So we can tune the algorithm now, since we know how it depends on alpha and rho. So this is the best tuning we can achieve. It's 1 minus 2 over 1 plus square root of k, for alpha is equal to 2 and rho 0 is equal to 1. Now rho 0 is a function of rho, which is the actual parameter that we're interested in. So this is the way you compute rho. This function of the matrix A and the actual curvature of the function f. Another conclusion is that the tuned ADMM is actually faster than the tuned gradient descent. I mean, not surprisingly, that's why people use this ADMM algorithm. Maybe one interesting thing is that Nesterov actually gives you a bound that no first-order method can beat. Okay, that's a bound, and actually the ADMM can match that bound. So ADMM is optimal in the class of first-order algorithms. Okay, on strong and convex functions. Okay, and I finish now, and I'll take some questions. Right, so normally the convergence rates that are given are not tight, so this is as tight as we can get. Also, there's two kind of results. The bounds that are not tight are given for